everybody, Corrie Sommers. Today we're going to be talking with Kay from Curtis Nutrition, and she's got some tips about health, and we're going to just talk about her business overall. You're going to watch to the very end because we are going to have a little something special for you. So stay tuned. Hi everybody, Corrie Sommers here with you again today, and today I'm sitting down with Kay Curtis of Curtis Nutrition, and we are going to talk about her business, which has been super helpful for me and something I want to share with everybody here in the Toluca Lake, Burbank Media District, where she's based. And of course, if you're here on either side of the hill, she's easy to get to. So Kay, thank you for taking the time with me today, and why don't you share a little bit about your business?
Okay, well, thanks for having me, first of all. I'm a Board Certified Nutritional Consultant, and I actually combine diet along with supplementation in order to restore health. And the way I got into this is that originally I have a 30-year plus background in education, and I was very concerned with a lot of my students' diet. Donuts in the morning, Captain Crunch, things like that. And that did not make it very easy for them to learn. So I wanted to add that onto my educational consulting business, and it sort of just took on a life of its own, and I became a nutritionist. And of course I still see children, but I see a lot of adults also, because I learned that if you can't really change the adult in the household, it's very hard to change the child's diet.
Yeah, and it seems like the Cheerios that I ate when I was a kid, where we had to add sugar because it was so plain, and the Cheerios today are like two totally different things, like sugar content and all of that.
Well, that's true. I mean, the whole food system has changed considerably, even healthy food. So even today, spinach is not the same spinach. It's not even your mother's spinach, and definitely not your grandmother's spinach. So it's a lot less healthy, and it just doesn't have any nutrients in it, or it doesn't have as many. I can't say it doesn't have any, that's ridiculous. It just doesn't have as many, and that's why I do use supplements, because at this point you would have to eat wheelbarrows full of food in order to make up the difference. And then certainly things that you're bringing up, like Cheerios or packaged foods, has really kind of got off the deep end in terms of the amount of sugar that things contain. And it's more prevalent, it's easily available. I mean, when I was growing up, you didn't have, 32 ounce big gulps or whatever there is. So that really impacts our diet and health also.
Let me ask you this, working with people and working to help balance their body and get healthier through supplementation and nutrition, what drives you to do this? What inspires you to do what you're doing?
Well, believe it or not, I really think that the food system and the way we eat is at the bottom of a lot of problems that we have in society. So I know that's quite the statement, so let me explain. I feel like, again, back with the children, if we're not feeding our children properly, and they go to school and they can't think and they can't comprehend and they can't, duplicate what the math teacher's trying to tell them, they start to, just dislike the whole process of going to school. They don't learn anything. We turn out, we can only have so many ditch diggers in life. I mean, we need somebody to contribute to society, and we need those people, but those people need to be educated and they need to be able to think clearly. And then if you go on to what's happening in our healthcare system, that's really a problem. And a lot of what is breaking our healthcare system really comes down to the fact that people just aren't eating correctly. But they don't know any better because they are really bombarded with a lot of misinformation, and they are bombarded with, temptations of, Krispy Kremes and, pizzas that, and all sorts of food that are very tempting, and they just don't know that it's actually harming them and contributing to their poor health. So that's what drives me. Is I think it's very important that people actually find out the truth, and we can kind of hopefully eventually halt what's going on.
Okay, fair enough. When did you first start this business? Because you've been around for a while, correct?
I have. I started in about 12, 13 years ago. And the reason I started again is I was a nutritional consultant. It was kind of like a perfect storm. I was a nutritional consultant. An educational consultant, excuse me. And I had a child that was actually one of the most brilliant children I'd ever tutored before. He was about 4 or 5, and he could read at a 3rd or 4th grade level. I had him doing square roots. He was doing long division, just grade levels beyond his years. And he just had a really poor diet. And then sometimes with that intelligence comes a little bit of a strangeness with the person. So unfortunately, the parent's solution was to put them on drugs instead of just trying to...
Opted for whatever medications that their doctor was recommending? Is that what happened?
Yes. She went in and asked for it, and because she felt uncomfortable with her child being a little odd. And that really killed me, because literally within a matter of weeks, he started to forget everything that he could actually do. And so it was strange. At any rate, at the same time, I had been diagnosed with some breast cancer. And I thought, well, I really don't fit the profile, so why is that happening to me? And I just started to really look into toxins in the environment and plastics and chemicals, and then one thing led to another, and it led to nutrition. And that's how I ultimately started.
Okay. What is maybe something that most people have a misconception about your business? Like when people, maybe a new client contacts you and they say, hey, I was looking for someone for a nutritionist. What do you find like maybe a common thread that most people just have a general misconception?
Well, they still think that a low-fat diet is the best way to go, and nothing can be further from the truth. They also think that they have to give up everything. And, it's true. You obviously can't, keep eating the Krispy Kremes. But, there are substitutes for things. And I'd like to feel like that I give people those options in our grocery list. And I also want people to know, because, and the reason I look for those is because I grew up in high school on 2 bags of nacho flavored Doritos and a Dr. Pepper. So I really understand what it is to eat things like that and how to break yourself of those habits. So I know it's maybe not so easy, so I try to find substitutes, and then so people won't feel like they're completely deprived. And they do feel like coming in, sometimes I can tell they're like, they're terrified because I'm going to yank the rug out from under them. And I assure you that's really not the way it's done.
Fair enough. So, your business is here on the edge of Toluca Lake and the Burbank Media District, and you live in this neighborhood. Share with me what were some factors that made you decide to choose this neighborhood to run your business out of?
Well, I live in this neighborhood, and I absolutely love it. Yeah. So, it's kind of I would almost say it's almost like a little secret neighborhood in Los Angeles, and it's a very walkable neighborhood, which is somewhat unusual, because we're all always accused of having to drive everywhere. But, I can literally walk to Trader Joe's, Vons, the UPS, the post office, some of the best sushi in the Los Angeles area. It's just very convenient, very homey, and walkable. I love it. People are nice too. People are really nice.
Yeah. I always say this. I walk the dog several times a day in the neighborhood, and it's that perfect combination of city living and suburbia.
It is, but it's suburbia, but you're not out like I don't know, Thousand Oaks
yeah.
or whatever, which is like, really far.
Yeah.
You're still, I mean, I'm 15 minutes from Hollywood.
Yeah. Easy. It's convenient.
Great. Yeah.
It's convenient. We don't want to encourage everybody to move here,
Yeah,
but if you
that's
did
okay.
want to move
Yeah.
here, it's a great place to live.
Exactly.
What are some of your favorite restaurants in the neighborhood?
Well, I mentioned the sushi, so Sushi Yuzu, for sure. The word got out on that, so the line's a little long. But they're an interesting restaurant in that they were so good, they sort of wiped out the other sushi restaurant in the neighborhood, so they took that one over. So they basically have 2 restaurants, which is kind of interesting. So that's really great. Let's see, what else do I really like? Well, the Tokaya place that just opened is good. I like that. That kind of really fits into the way I eat. They have, instead of rice, they have riced cauliflower, and that's very convenient for me. Then Malbec's very good. Okay. I like that a lot. And then, there's some places in downtown Burbank too that are good, and that's not that far, even though we're sort of on the edge.
Right. Have you tried Red Maple?
I have not tried that yet.
You have to go.
Really? Is it really good?
Not only are they really good, they have gelato that they make.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. Being that we're talking about some of the great things in the neighborhood and the walkability, why do you think it's important for people to shop local?
Well, I feel like that if we don't support local businesses, if they go under, what are we going to have here? I mean, we don't want empty buildings or something like that, or we don't want, I really don't want a lot of chain things. I hate to say that, but so, if a lot of these wonderful little mom and pop, restaurants and stores and everything were to go under, I would fear that a lot of chains would open up, and that's really not this neighborhood. Which is maybe not for everybody. I know some people like a lot of chain things. But to me, that's not this neighborhood. So you should definitely support and shop local.
Great advice. I really appreciate you taking the time with me today to talk. And everybody, I can't recommend Kay enough. If you're struggling with some issues, or you're saying, like something just doesn't feel right in my body, or maybe you're having eczema, or like what are some other things you see a lot of?
Well, blood sugar issues for sure. I specialize in blood sugar and digestion. So a lot of digestion issues, a lot of stress, creating digestion issues, and cravings. A lot of cravings.
So if you have uncontrollable cravings,
right?
If you've got that afternoon, I'm going to die unless I sleep for 3 hours kind of thing, you definitely want to look into setting up an appointment with Kay.
Yes,
let her know that you saw this video, and she'll take great care of you.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me. This was fun.
Absolutely.
Great.
All right, guys, until next time, be sure to tune in. We have new videos coming up weekly. If you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button below and actually click that bell, and you'll get notified when we have updates. And we've got an extra special something for you. Below, we're going to have a link to just some general recommendations from Kay for overall health and nutrition. So be sure to click on that and get a copy. Until next time, bye, guys.